Now, I don't know about you guys, but it seemed kind of weird to schedule a game seven uh, in the nightcap. It just seems so weird. Like, you know, I for some reason I thought that game was played at like 1 o'clock, game seven in 2016. Now it just seems kind of weird. Like 8 o'clock seems like it's too late for somebody who lives in the East Coast because they have to go to work on Monday the next day. But for some reason, I thought Game Seven of the Cavs and the Warriors was played at 1 o'clock, which makes the most sense, ironically. But when I went back to see when the tip off was for 2016, that Game Seven, it was actually 5 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So it seems very weird. It seems like you could play this game at 8 o'clock European time. They're not missing out on viewers who have to wake up at 2 a.m. to watch this game. It seems like this game should be played at 1:30. It's the most optimal time. It's a day of rest. That's what Sunday is. Why are we making these people on the East Coast watch the game at 8 o'clock in the night on a Sunday before the return to work day? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to have this game tip off at 5 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. European viewers are a big demographic. European viewers are a big chunk of the NBA views. At least have the game tip off 8 o'clock Paris time. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. You're not doing anything else on Sunday. May as well have the game tip off at 1 o'clock. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know why you have this game tip off at 5 o'clock. What sense does it make to make Europeans wait until 2 a.m. to watch the game? It's like have the Europeans watch the game at 8 o'clock. It's like it doesn't make any sense. It's like this game should tip off at 1:30 in the afternoon. Well, why can't we have an early afternoon game? It doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. The ratings could be higher if they had the game at 1:30 because of the Europeans. They don't have to wait until after midnight. The East Coast people at 8 o'clock. It's like it doesn't make sense. Adam Silver should be fired. It makes no sense. The game should be tipped off at 1:30. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. But it works out for me because I'm on the West Coast, obviously, and so it works out. But from a logistics perspective, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If you want to maximize the viewership on the East Coast, on the European coast, you have this game on at 1:30. This Adam Silva may think about things from a business perspective in that the NBA is not seen as a crown this team already because in Adam Silva's tenure, we're going to see a ninth different franchise win a championship in his 12 years as commissioner. So I think Adam Silver has done a great job as far as making this more of a uncertainty of outcome. The parity is higher under Adam Silver than it was under David Stern. Like the NBA Finals matchups may have been bad. Like I've been making that case throughout the entire month, throughout the entire playoffs. But because of the uncertainty of outcome, this has resulted in higher ratings throughout the first three rounds of the playoffs. because it could be anybody. Oh, you had the Miami Heat, eighth seed in the finals. You had the loser Phoenix Suns, who were what, a seventh seed in the finals? You had the fifth seeded Mavs in the finals. So the uncertainty of outcome has certainly helped ratings for the first three rounds of the playoffs. But the NBA Finals ratings could be better because we're not getting truly the best two teams in basketball in the NBA Finals. And this includes the Dallas Mavericks. All y'all people saying Luka and Kyrie were going to win. No, I told you the Celtics are going to win. There's going to be no game seven. The Celtics are too deep. I told you that's what would happen. And the same thing's going to happen here. I told you. The Thunder are going to win. They're going to win without Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant in the play, missed the play-in round, and the Thunder are going to win the championship. The referees, who do you think the referees are going to help? The Pacers? Yeah, right. No. Home cooking. They extended the series to 7 to salvage some of the low ratings, but SGA 32.7 points per game, MVP. This is the guy that the NBA is scripting the finals for. Joakim the Bond is going to dethrone SGA next. And now this guy's a free throw merchant. He's not going to get all these calls against the Lakers next year, is he? If the Pacers force a game 7 against the Thunder, I think we should beat them in 6, honestly. I think we should beat them in 6. The free throw merchant's not going to get the calls against the Lakers, is he? That's right. He's not going to bait his way to the free throw line against the LA Lakers and Joakim the Bond. That's the weakness of the Thunder. This team is truly defeatable. They are defeatable when you combine the LA Lakers and the referees not showing a preferential treatment towards SGA. So this guy's a free throw merchant, and we're going to beat this guy next year. He's going to bitch and whine and cry, why am I not getting the free throws that I was getting this year? Because it's about Joakim the Bond James, motherfucker. And most of the time, you're just bumping into the offensive player anyways. So I don't want to hear no bitching and no whining from you people whining and crying about SGA being a free throw merchant. Only when it's the LA Lakers is when you're going to bitch and cry about the Lakers getting the preferential treatment. But what happened to the hatred of SGA? What happened to that? That's what I'll be waiting for next year. So they may be whining and crying and pouting and rooting for the Pacers and rooting for Hot Tyrese Halliburton. But at the end of the day, they hate the Lakers more. They are going to be riding the cock of SGA against Joakim the Bond because they hate Joakim the Bond more than SGA. Yeah, they be hating Joakim the Bond more than SGA. This real talk right here. Oh, this talk about being a free throw merchant. No, this guys gonna forget about this because you Joakim the Bond hating bombs. You little right wingers, you hate Joakim the Bond more than SGA. Next year's playoffs is predictable. It's already predictable. Michael Jordan's gonna sit here and say SGA is getting away with calls. And Michael Jordan's going to appear on the networks. Michael Jordan's going to offer his insight into the play of the game today. Michael Jordan's going to cater to the older audience. He's going to come out with some real talk like Charles Barkley. Michael Jordan wants to outdo Charles Barkley as far as coming out with what is referred to as the real talk, as the truth speak. As the tell it like it is without the filter associated with it. Michael Jordan wants to outdo Charles Barkley. So we got ourselves a real rivalry as far as who offers the most insight, the most real talk. Michael Jordan ain't no entertainer on the airwaves. Charles Barkley is an entertainer. That's the edge that Sir Chuck has over MJ. But Mike has the ability to speak his mind and talk about it the way that he sees that it's really happening on the court in real time. So this is the real battle we like to see. Is it true that Shaq and Chuck and Kenny are going to be on ESPN and Michael Jordan is going to insert himself into the segment as a guest contributor? It is Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan hate each other. They may have respect for each other, but they don't hate each other. I know nothing about the Dream Team because I wasn't born during the Dream Team. So that's how it is. But even if Charles Barkley felt some prejudice towards Michael Jordan because he don't have any ring, he sure as hell respect Michael Jordan more than the cupcake bus riding bum Kevin Durant. It is the real talk of the hour tomorrow. The Thunder are winning the championship without Kevin Durant. This is a lock. This is a lock. They are winning the championship without Kevin Durant. Hey, now these people be barking, make a video about Kevin Durant. We really don't know what's happening in the trade market right now. Supposedly they said the Knicks are not interested in Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant wasn't interested in the deal to send him to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So as of right now, from the appearance, it seems like Kevin Durant, is not going to the Timberwolves or the Knicks. Just from the appearance, based off of the rumors, the Knicks' interest, Kevin Durant's interest in Minnesota. Kevin Durant does not want to be carried by Anthony Edwards. This is why he doesn't want to go to Minnesota, because Anthony Edwards is already the number one option, so he can't go to Minnesota. He can't be a bus rider behind Anthony Edwards. This is why Kevin Durant is not interested in Minnesota, because he has to be alpha. He has to be alpha in this championship that he is seeking before the end of his career. And the best two options for Kevin Durant, in my view, are the Spurs and the Knicks. Two teams opposite, two opposing conferences. The Knicks are the best option in the East, and in my view, in the West, with the international presence of Victor Wembanyama, the wise basketball acumen of the president, Greg Popovich, the Spurs are the second best option, and De'Aaron Fox is there. So the Spurs have to be somebody that you highly consider when you have Chris Paul and Kevin Durant and De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama. That is a tantrum to be reckoned. I just don't see how the Rockets are going to work out for Kevin Durant. Now, I understand why the Rockets want Kevin Durant, because Jalen Green was not that guy in the postseason. So I understand exactly why the Rockets are willing to sacrifice for Kevin Durant. He has the ability to be an alpha on the Spurs or the Rockets. Just like Dwayne Wade and Goki LeBron complement each other, just like Goki LeBron and Kyrie Irving complement each other, Kevin Durant and Jalen Brunson can complement each other. There's no real number two elite scoring option behind Jalen Brunson. That if you have Kevin Durant, it's going to open up more for Jalen Brunson. And Jalen Brunson, likewise, with this ability to drive, to kick out, and open it up, is going to open it for Kevin Durant. So in my view, it doesn't change. It's Spurs or Knicks. But if the Knicks are out of the equation, then from the appearance of it right now, it appears that the Spurs are the favorite to land Kevin Durant, because it serves the NBA's interest better if he lands in the New York or the international market of the San Antonio Spurs. And there's no international presence on the Houston Rockets. This takes out the Rockets. There's no big names that we can speak about on the Raptors because Siakam is out, because Van Fleet is out of Toronto. All they have is RJ Barrett. From the appearance of it all, it's looking like, and me personally, I'd be stunned if he's not on the Knicks or the Spurs. And if Kevin Durant is not on the New York Knicks, then Giannis Antetokounmpo is gonna get traded to the New York Knicks. He loves the New York market, and I think Joakim Lebonski have the game-winning dunk against Giannis, the Greek god, in the 2027 NBA Finals. If it is Giannis on the Knicks instead of Kevin Durant. So that is the breakdown on Kevin Durant right now. Uh, and I would like to close out and say that tomorrow should be about the OKC Thunder. It should not be about Kevin Durant. This is a team accomplishment of the Thunder. We should not make it all about Kevin Durant not winning on the Thunder. The Thunder have won this championship. They have conquered all the other teams. The Thunder are deserving of the championship without having all the noise surround the Thunder win without Kevin Durant. We should not be talking about Kevin Durant, but we can't help it. It can't be ignored. If the Thunder win without Kevin Durant, it would show that Kevin Durant had the ability to win the title on OKC. But if Kevin Durant were on OKC, would the SGA trade be possible in the first place? So, and it's probably not possible in the first place if the Thunder get rid of Kevin Durant. I don't know how many teams out there thought SGA was a franchise player. But without Kevin Durant, I don't see how this SGA trade would be possible. And let's face it, the house always wins. The Lions and the Chiefs were the top bets for the Super Bowl. How'd that turn out? Now, let me say that the Buckeyes were the top bet for the college football title. They did win the college football title. So their top bet, they won. Dodgers were the top bet last year. They won. So the public does win. Sometimes it's worth mentioning, but when there's too much money on one side, when there is way too much money on one side, it rarely works out in favor of the public. Now, what I'm saying is that the public does win sometimes, so they don't discourage the public from betting. The public was on Otani last year. They won. The public was on the Buckeyes for the college football championship. They won. Now, for college basketball, the public was on Duke. They did not win. It's a two-way street. That's how it is. But as the history shows, when there's way too much money on one side, that is bad news for the public. If over 90% of the bets was on the Pacers to win the series before it started, with the high payouts garnered for the Indiana Pacers, this is bad news. I don't know when they're going to announce the referee for tomorrow. And it's not automatic that Scott Foster is going to be the ref for tomorrow. They don't need Scott Foster to help the Thunder win the title. They don't need him. They can assign the game to any referee, and they tell this guy, make SGA the MVP that he was throughout the regular season. If there is a hesitant, judgmental call, you give the free throws to SGA. This is the assignment. There is no guy out there that can bait a free throw better than SGA. This is an easy assignment. And I mean, personally, I hope the Thunder destroy the Pacers the home floor, the 18-win differential in the regular season between the Pacers and the Thunder. I hope there's no debate. I don't know what you mean by the Thunder are blowing a series lead. There's way too much money on the Pacers. I'll simply believe it when I see it. If this guy averaged 32 points per game, this guy's the Golden Boy's going to win the title. All this Reggie Miller BS. Like, let's not completely ignore a guy who averaged 32 points per game in the regular season. 32 points per game. And this Jalen Williams guy and Alex Caruso and this Wiggins guy. OKC a little too much. They sold Game 6 so they could have the home celebration. Halliburton's a nobody. How many times has he scored 20 points in the finals? This guy's a fraud. This guy fakes an injury. He claims I'm hurt. Guy's a bitch. He really is. Everybody is hurt. Everybody on the Thunder is banged up. You think these guys are not banged up? Every single player on that basketball court is banged up. These guys are playing through pain. Every single one of these guys. Halliburton is just a choke artist. He choked away the Game 5. A little pussy-ass bitch like him, this guy is making a mockery of basketball. You saw this guy play in Game 6. Oh, this guy's seriously hurt. No, he's not. He's making excuses. He's shitting his pants already. He's a joke. A fraud-ass scrub in this NBA averaging 20.7 points per game in his career. That's a scrub by today's definition. You should be averaging 23, 25 points per game. Common sense would dictate that SGA is going to win, that this Williams guy is balling. And then this is all some 3D chess by Goat King the Bond. He wants to give the appearance that he doesn't care about rings. He wants his competitors to think he doesn't care about rings. This is some 3D chess reverse psychology. There's reverse psychology by Goat King the Bond. He wants these clowns to think he don't care about winning rings no more. Goat King the Bond, this is mind games by Goat King the Bond. He wants to give the appearance that he doesn't care about winning. Just because these guys come in prejudice before the playoff series that Goat King the Bond is about piling up stats. Goat King the Bond is a pure genius. He ain't some low IQ scrub. He a businessman. He knows what he's doing. He knows it's a mind game. This is a mind game by Goat King the Bond. Give the appearance that he doesn't care about rings. Give the competitors the prejudice that, coming into the series, he's only caring about stats. This is where the competitors lose the moment they fall for the bait that he only be caring about stats. Hocus pocus. I heard the quote from Goat King the Bond. Not this past season, but 2 seasons ago. What did Goat King the Bond say? He says, if I didn't believe that I could compete for championships, I would already be retired. Goat King the Bond is about winning championships. Anyone who says otherwise is full of horseshit to the extreme. He said verbatim, if I wasn't believing I could compete for championships, I'd be retired. So Goat King the Bond is about winning championships. This is some 3D chess reverse psychology. Screaming A. Smith and the talking heads in the media ain't knowing nothing about Goat King the Bond time. Did you watch Cooper Flag against the Houston Cougars. He disappointed. He completely disappointed. Good luck with that. From what I've seen from the Final Four, he's not ready to be a star yet. The Mavs ain't winning nothing after this trade. They not allowed to win until after Bond wins the back-to-back rings. Imagine being high on the cocaine, thinking this Cooper Flag's gonna win a championship. You have to be drugged out if you think the Mavs are winning the championship after trading Luka Doncic. Gotta stop doing powder, bro. You gotta stop doing powder. You're high. It's the worst trade ever. The narrative is it's the worst trade ever. The Mavs ain't winning nothing. All these stupid go-ass motherfuckers. Oh my God. Lowest rated finals in years. You think LeBron not going to be in the finals next year? You have to be a retard if you don't think he's going to be in the finals next year. You have to be willingly stupid to not take advantage of life-changing odds on LeBron James next year. Well, that's your loss. I've seen this team whip the ass of the Timberwolves. It's going to be Lakers Thunder. Lakers are going to dethrone the Thunder. LeBron is going to beat the MVPs next year. He's going to beat Nikola Jokic. He's going to beat Gilgeous Alexander. He's the golden king of the league. Ain't no Dallas Mavericks. What the hell are people thinking about the Dallas Mavericks? This team's a joke. They want to move to Vegas. They don't want to win. They want to move to Vegas. Anthony Davis sucks. He's going to get injured. He got injured the very moment LA shipped him off. What don't be fucking gonna happen? Why do you think Jeannie Buss didn't concede or control the team until gradually a few years to 5 years later? Because Jeannie Buss is going to be governor of the Lakers when they win the back-to-back titles. Why do you think Jeannie Buss didn't concede her governorship of the LA Lakers? Because she knows what is about to go down right here. Come on, you scrub. Use your mind. Why didn't she concede her governorship if she doesn't believe Goki the Bark in the window more? She wants to be the governor when the Lakers win they back-to-back. That's why she don't concede her governorship. She's going to gradually concede the ownership as the years go by. 5 years down the line, she's going to still be a part of the ownership and Goki LeBron ties Mike and Kareem. She will no longer be owner the moment after Goki LeBron went the 5th and the 6th ring. The Dodgers owners are genius. The Dodgers know how to scout players in the minor leagues. This Dodgers owner knows how to develop. The Dodgers are not reliant on the free agent market. The Dodgers know how to develop prospects. The Dodgers owner knows what he's doing. The Dodgers have a better scouting system than the Yankees do have a better scouting system. The Dodgers have a far better scouting system than the Yankees do. It's because the Dodgers owner knows how to run an organization from top to bottom. Oh my God. You gotta stop doing drugs. Piss away money to the sports book on the Mavs to win the West. You have to be high on the powder. Are they winning the division over the Spurs or the Thunder? No way, Jose. That's a loser team. What makes you think this crack-ass team is going to win when they try to move the team to Vegas? They have to be bad to move that team to Vegas. Spurs are bad a few years. Mavs have to be bad a few years. Spurs are bad a few years. It didn't mean nothing that Victor Wembanyama from France, his first 2 years, they missed the playoffs. It don't mean nothing. For the NBA, the Mavs are going to miss the playoffs for the next couple of years, so they move that team to Vegas. No one says the Spurs are going to do anything. They're going to be a playoff contender, but at the end of the day, the Spurs are not going to be contenders. But the Spurs can be a play-in team, a playoff team. But at the end of the day, the Spurs are not going to be contenders until a couple few years down the line. Nobody said the Spurs are going to be contenders. Nobody did. They're not going to be contenders until they actually settle into Las Vegas. You have to be terrible before you move the team. You have to give justification for the failed ticket prices before you move the team to LA. This team isn't going to be a championship contender. They want to give justification for the move to LA. Oh, the ticket prices are terrible. The attendance is terrible. That's how the A's were able to move to Vegas. That's how the Raiders were able to move to Vegas because of the terrible attendance at the Alameda Coliseum in Vegas. What other team moved recently that had bad attendance? They're trying to build a new casino in Dallas. They're owned by Vegas mega sportsbook owners. This Mavs team ain't winning nothing. You really think the Mavs ain't shit, motherfucker? The Mavs ain't shit. You got to be high on the cocaine. They ain't the hot shit. Nikola Jokic, the best player in basketball. The Denver Nuggets, the nemesis of Goki LeBron, the defending champion Thunder, possibly the Warriors, possibly the we beat you Minnesota Timberwolves revenge. There's far better narratives than the crap ass, garbage ass Dallas Mavericks. Well, and I say anything is possible. And anything is possible. Because the Mavs beat Goki LeBron in 2011. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not seeking revenge against Dallas because I haven't forgotten about 2011. The Dallas Mavericks were big rivals of the Lusa Phoenix Suns. And so were the San Antonio Spurs, by the way. But we're talking about who swept who? Who swept who? Who talking about who swept who? Who swept who? Come on now. Who swept who? You ain't talking about those. That series ended in 6 games. What y'all be talking about a sweep, y'all? What y'all be talking about? It was 4-2 Mavs over the Heat. What y'all be talking about? You high on the powder, I swear. There are other narratives. Goki LeBron got to beat the MVPs next year. You have to beat Jokic in SGA. Curry ain't on nothing no more. We beat that bomb in 2023. He ain't up no more. It don't matter if they have Jimmy Butler. It don't matter no more. There's no Splash Brothers. There's no Warriors. There's no Splash Brothers. They no Warriors. I'm here to beat the cream of the crop. I'm here to beat the Denver Nuggets, the only team that has competed all the way to the end against the Thunder. Screw the scrub-ass Pacers. You all are fake. You're as fake as can be. It's more believable to have the best player in basketball force the Thunder to a Game 7. The Pacers are a fake hocus pocus. The Thunder are going to win. Thunder are going to win. That's part of the Kevin Durant curse. The basketball gods angry at Kevin Durant. We already knew the Cavs and the Warriors are going to play in the finals for 2 straight years. He made basketball boring. The basketball gods ain't happy with this motherfucking Kevin Durant. In the new Adam Silver NBA, the basketball gods say we must have some motherfucking parity here. Why y'all think the Celtics failed to make the conference finals? Why the Warriors failed to make the conference finals? Why did the Lakers failed to make the conference finals. Why did the Cavs fail to make the conference finals? Because we need some parity. We must make the NBA the NFL. It's what Adam Silver did for the NBA. We'd be angry at Adam Silver for some garbage-ass matchups, but he has certainly opened up the element of parity throughout the association throughout the months of April, May, and June. So Adam Silver has done a great job and far better than David Stern. And Adam Silver deserves all the credit for the great ratings throughout the first round and second round in conference finals ratings. It is all because of the genius acumen of Adam Silver to increase parity in this great motherfucking league. But we have a problem when we get to two teams left. The biggest problem is we don't have a real championship series. The public is brainwashed and retarded. They're drinking the Kool-Aid. The Thunder are still going to win. I'm going to laugh at everybody who fell for the hook and bait of the Thunder selling games for the NBA, because I'm telling you what's been happening, but y'all been falling for the Pacers. You've been falling for the Pacers. You were falling for Indiana. You were falling for, they're a fake team. Ordinarily, they lose in 5. Now, I should screenshot that because I warned everybody before game 1 and I warned everybody before game 7. Why would Las Vegas take a big hit on the Pacers winning the championship? Why would they? There's going to be a lot of crying on Sunday. I guarantee it. There's going to be lots and lots of crying on Sunday. This Tyrese Halliburton is nothing but a psychological operation. That he's overrated, and they know he is. There's a reason why the Pacers are winning by 30 points. It's because let's get some people to bet on the Pacers for game 7. This is not rocket science. This is obvious. Mauricio Canchancola and you too. It's time to eat the crow. It's time to walk the plank. It's time to admit that you got hooked and baited by Las Vegas. You can't go into this ignoring betting trends. You can't. It's simply not going to go down the way you think it is going to go down. But Larry Bird and Reggie Miller, Indiana gonna win. Is it supposed to be some kind of coincidence that Kevin Durant can't even make the play in the same year that Thunder win the championship? I'm just saying. And this guy missed the play in the same year the Thunder win the championship. This is a bona fide cheating ritual. I heard people tell me there's no way they'll have PSG win the Champions League without Kylian Mbappe. There's no way they'll have PSG win the Champions League without Kylian Mbappe. But what happened? What happened? I told you Inter would lose. PSG won the Champions League without Mbappe. And so this is part 2. This is truly part 2. The King of Paris left Paris. PSG won the Champions League without him. The Thunder did it with teamwork and not overrated prima donna superstars like Kevin Durant. That's the real story. Thunder miss out losing. They sacrificed the NBA Cup so they could win the championship. Oh no, this guy's getting shamed again because he ruined competition for 2 fucking years. Everybody knew it'd be Cavs Thunder for 2 straight years. There was zero uncertainty of outcome. The basketball gods are here to punish that motherfucker, I guarantee it. Kevin Durant, Kevin Durant sold his soul. The CWE guy is a big crybaby, but Kevin Durant sold his soul to have the security of winning meaningless championships. But what happened was Kevin Durant did not feel he did not feel meaningful after the championships. Gold King LeBron didn't ruin competition. He took over a team that won 40 games. He didn't take over a 73-win team. The logic is astonishing. The mental gymnastics, the logical fallacy you want to play here. He joined a team that won 73 games, Kevin Durant. Gold King LeBron joined a team that lost in the first round. You are high on the cocaine, motherfucker. You gotta let go of the powder before it damages your brain. Stop doing the cocaine. Stop. You're not making any sense whatsoever. There is Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett joining the Celtics before looking the bond that he ruined basketball. The Celtics, the first year under this big three, won 66 games and won the championship. They're the guys who won the competition, not Gold King LeBron James. They stacked the deck against Gold King LeBron James. By the Celtics forming a super team, the first real super team under this modern era was the 2007-2008 Celtics. And this is some childish thing. Go to Baba. What are you, 5 years old? What are you? Greatest player ever in the game? He turned the Heat from a first-round exit to a championship? You gotta stop doing drugs, mate. You have to stop doing drugs. You could learn a thing or two from here because the house always wins. You could learn a thing or two from here. You really need. You think the Mavs are winning the West next year? This is how you need help beyond repair. Seek the help immediately before it damages you to no avail. That's a child. What are you, 3 years old? Look at you. Yeah, they're a top 5 offense. They have a top 5 pass rusher. Trey Hendrickson, they've won all 5 games in the regular season last year. They're a top team in the league. Joe Burrow's one of the clutchest quarterbacks in January of any quarterback out there. He's not a washed-up garbage regular season quarterback like Lamar Jackson. Poop Jackson is a big joke. 7 interceptions, 8 fumbles in the postseason. He's a big, giant joke. He failed to win the AFC. I don't care about divisional titles. All I give a damn about is January. You can win your meaningless regular season games all day long like the true loser that you are. But what I'm about is winning when it counts. That's a real winner. Not a regular season merchant like Lamar Jackson. He's a regular season merchant. That's all he is. He's 3-5 in the regular season. And Joe Burrow's not 0-3 in Super Bowls. Joe Burrow beat Josh Allen in the playoffs. He beat Patrick Mahomes, not Lamar Jackson. All you black Lamar Jackson fans are completely emotional. You're completely deluded. He hasn't proven that he can perform in January. He lost against Ryan Tannehill, for crying out loud. Joe Burrow's 5-2 in the postseason. The Poop Jackson is 3-5 without a win over Mahomes and Burrow and Allen in the playoffs. Lamar is a piece of dog shit in January. He continues to fuck you over just when you think he's about to win. Most of the public had Lamar Jackson playing in Super Bowl 58, but I told you the Chiefs are going to beat the Ravens. And I told you that's what would happen when over 70% of the public money was on the Ravens to beat the Chiefs. You see? That's what happened. We got a child over here. They think they're starting 0-8, 0-17. They finished the regular season 5-1, winning one momentum. I already picked the Ravens to win both regular season matchups because the regular season is meaningless. Lamar Jackson is a loser and a choker in January when everything is pressed and condensed in the postseason. He doesn't have the smarts to win in January. He can't read the defenses. He is a regular season merchant. That is some bold take right there that you have to be reckless to think Lamar is a lock to win the Super Bowl. There is no lock to win the AFC or the NFC because this is the NFL and we are showing signs that the Chiefs are clearly not going to make it back. They got destroyed in the Super Bowl. This leaves us with Bills, Chiefs, and the regular season merchants, the Baltimore Ravens. Allen and Burrow are better postseason performers than the piece of dog poop Lamar Jackson, 3-5 with wins against Tannehill and a rookie quarterback on the Texans and his other meaningless NFL playoff win. I could care less about that meaningless playoff win. Who the hell did Lamar beat? A rookie quarterback on the Texans, Ryan Tannehill, and the Titans. Who else did he beat? Nobody. Lamar is who he is. He's a mediocre quarterback. He makes too much mistakes. He isn't cut out to winning in the postseason. This ain't about emotion. This is about the stats. 3-5 in the postseason, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 8 fumbles, 4 lost fumbles. He is what he is in the playoffs. He is what he is. But I'm a genius, and I know that the multi-future parlay, I'm gonna do a 3-way with the Bills and the Ravens, and the Bills to win the AFC because I am a genius and I know what must work out to secure the winning formula. And that's just the AFC. I can do the NFC too. I can do the Lions and I can do the Packers and I can do the Eagles. You know, those are the top 3 in each conference. Doesn't matter who I have in the Super Bowl. I win either way. I have already won. Because I am a genius and I know the multi-future parlay needed to make it work to where I win regardless of who wins and who loses. I think you're a crackhead, fake news piece of shit because I have nailed the Yankees to win the American League. I've correctly predicted the Chiefs to make it to the Super Bowl. I think you're a fake news crackhead. I correctly predicted the exacta of Chiefs over Eagles for the Super Bowl. I correctly predicted Argentina to win the World Cup. I correctly predicted Milan to win Scudetto 2022. I predicted Napoli win Scudetto this year. I correctly predicted Real Madrid to win the Champions League last year. No. You threw a shot at me. Don't come out here saying I called you out because you came out with the shot first, motherfucker. You came out with the disrespect. Don't go talking out of the side of your ass like you got disrespected. Well, I don't give a fuck if he wins this year or last year or the year before. Why do you think I give a fuck? Everybody's already given up on GOAT Keelan. Do you think I give 2 fucks he's not in 1? Because I'm the GOAT and king of basketball and GOAT Keelan wins the 5th and 6th rings. I am the GOAT and king of basketball. I am the only guy who said Go King the Bond was win the sixth ring after the sweep against the Nuggets. I'm the only guy who said Go King the Bond is win the back-to-back after he lost in the first round against the Nuggets. I'm the only guy who said he's still winning the sixth ring after he lost against Timberwolves. That makes me the GOAT. That makes you a loser and a bum. When you don't believe in the GOAT King the Bond prophecy, I've been telling you, he's winning the back-to-back. He's winning the ring at New York, the birthplace of Michael and Kareem. The scoring king to surpass Kareem. I've been telling you, this been happening right there. Only the loser bums, the quitting faggot beta-ass bums without any mammoth mentality are going to quit. You loser-ass bums, you can kick rocks. You ain't got no mammoth mentality, you bunch of pussies. I don't give a fuck about any of y'all. All I'm here is about the mammoth mentality. That's all I give a damn about. Well, I remember Go King the Bond Nation for over 20 years. I embraced the mammoth mentality. I embraced what it's about, being an LA Laker, continuing the grind for the championship. This is what it must be about right there, and that makes you a pussy-ass motherfucker. And you give up on the mission. Go King the Bond has already said, if I didn't believe I could compete for a championship, I'd already been retired. And Go King the Bond is still competing for championships. That makes you a weak-ass motherfucker. And this guy did not have a center. And he only was with Luka before February. The most obvious pick of them all is going to win the Game 7. Who do you think is going to win? Are you really a schmuck? Over 90% of the bets is on Indiana. I showed you the proof. Over 90% of the bets is on Indiana. Why did the refs not call an offensive foul against SGA? Why did the refs call an offensive foul against SGA? Because the series is fixed for the MVP. It's not rocket science. It shouldn't be rocket science. Some gay-ass team for Indiana? Yay. Kevin Durant, same with Joel. You're overlooking it. We live in a zombie matrix. Over 40% of the public thinks the Pacers going to win. Las Vegas always wins. The Pacers don't pay out anything. Or the Thunder don't pay out anything. The Pacers, those are too high of a payouts for Las Vegas to pay them out. Okay, crack man, okay. It's over. SGA is a legend. He's going to win the title. Kevin Durant is going to have to watch the Thunder win without him. CW guys and bought her gay-ass Kevin Durant lover. He doesn't understand. SGA is a free throw merchant. I agree that he's a free throw merchant. He's got a good mid-range game. I'll give him that. But he's a bait and free throw merchant. I mean, his game is pretty ugly, I think, when I watch SGA. It's not very enjoyable. So, you know, he would have already had 6 rings if Kevin Durant didn't join the Warriors. You're brainwashed. You're full. You got to let go of the hookah. Stephen Curry's a bitch. He cried for Kevin Durant. He is a pussy. He cried for a top 2, top 3 player. He's a joke. You got to stop doing drugs. You have to stop doing cocaine. Your judgment is seriously missing. More like he'd be 6-4 in the finals. He'd be 6-4 if he didn't have crybaby Kevin Durant trying to sabotage Go King the Bond. Kevin Durant is a real athlete. He deserves to win 0 titles. He deserves to win 0. He deserves to have the Thunder win a title without him. If there's any justice, the Thunder win the championship tomorrow. Kevin Durant is a joke. He's all obsessed about being the best player. He really thought he'd be the best player in basketball by winning 2017. Kevin Durant is a joke. Stephen Curry was absorbing the double teams. Stephen Curry occupying the defense was the only reason why Kevin Durant was getting all the credit for his classmates doing the team project assignment. That's what Kevin Durant is. We have a lot of fags nowadays who give credence to Kevin Durant's two titles. No wonder why America has fallen so much. No wonder why America has fallen so much. He wants the cheapest way to legacy because Kevin Durant is a fag and a bitch who is afraid of failure. You see, I despise everything Kevin Durant stands for. He absolutely fears failure. Another terrible take. Stephen Curry's a god. No, he's not. He never beat Goat King LeBron with the healthy supporting cast. The only time he beat Goat King LeBron without Kevin Durant was when Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love got injured. So that's another loss for you. That's another loss. You're full of dog shit. Seriously. He only beat Goat King LeBron without Kevin Durant when both Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving got hurt. Fact. That's a fact. Yep. You agree. Yep. There's only been a two-way GOAT debate. GOAT King LeBron, Michael Jordan, everybody else out of the equation. And no ifs or buts. Two guys that could contribute more to a basketball floor than any other player. Stephen Curry's a fake ass competitor when he cries for Kevin Durant. That is not Kobe's ahead of Stephen Curry. I think Kobe should be ahead of Stephen Curry. I think Kobe's overrated, but I think Kobe should be ahead of Stephen Curry if this guy cried for Kevin Durant. Kobe would never, ever do that. So I think Kobe deserves some respect for that because he is competitive. I think he's overrated. I think he's not an efficient player, but I think he is a real competitor. And he wouldn't cry for Kevin Durant like Stephen Curry. So I think Kobe's ahead of Stephen Curry. He is below Goat King LeBron, but Kobe is certainly ahead of Stephen Curry. Half of his rings was with Kevin Durant. Stephen Curry is a complete and utter and total fraud. If this injury by Stephen Curry is not a fake injury, I attribute it to the basketball gods. This is another crackpot take. Flag is currently ahead of Goat King LeBron. Oh, yeah, you do. You're a troll. You are a troll. Random guy on YouTube, aka troll. Cooper Flag's better than any player in the league? Who is this guy? A troll. Cooper Flag may not even be quick enough to play in the league. This guy's not even guaranteed to be an elite prospect. Duke always had the lead. They couldn't play from behind Duke. So we got to see more from Cooper Flag. If you want to be real, he's a talented prospect, but we have to see more from Cooper Flag. I hope Cooper does well because NBA dominated by black man, but Cooper Flag, he could be a bust. He could be a bust. He didn't show up against Houston. He should have won against Houston. He fucked things up completely. Oh yeah, yeah, I know. Everyone bet on Duke. Ha 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 ha. Las Vegas always wins. You see. Yeah, 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 yeah. That was a Las Vegas game. Yep, 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 yep. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I'm still wondering how the hell they lost that game. Where in the contract does it say these guys are not supposed to say that it's rigged and it's entertainment? On the collegiate level at least on the collegiate level. On the collegiate level, where does it say that the stipulations are that you're not allowed to say that the refs that it's rigged? Well, what part of the contract on a collegiate level says you're not allowed to criticize the refs when you're dealing with a $1 billion contract for March Madness? Which part of that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, these guys will get paid money to rig games. I think the NIL will make college sports more rigged. I absolutely believe it does. Oh yeah, was Notre Dame ever going to win with Riley Leonard? He sucked. He sucked. It's going to be another 10 years before we make the national title game. Oh my god. You know what? At least we send guys to the NFL. At least we send guys to the NFL. At least we're playing big bowl games every year, even when we don't win the national championship game. So, well, I mean, it's just bullshit how Notre Dame had a 14 play drive, scored the touchdown, and it was just an illusion. It was just Ohio State was going to blow them out from the get. I'm going to make the fun out of anyone who had the Pacers. You can't say you were not warned because I warned you what Las Vegas is not going to allow to happen. Is Alex Caruso really not going to win the title before he faces off against the Lakers next year? You're overlooking Alex Caruso. If it's not red, Thunder should win by 10 plus. They should win by at least 7 points. At least 7 points if it's not some red bullshit, keep ratings close for 4 quarters. But it has the ability to be close until the start of the fourth quarter. But the Thunder are taking it. Don't kid yourself. Over 90% of the money was on the Pacers. Quite simply because Thunder, they don't pay out anything. Of course. Of course. Thunder, they didn't pay out anything. They didn't. They didn't pay out anything. Thunder are winning the title. Thunder have already won the title. Thunder are NBA champions. They have won without Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is a joke. This guy's a fuck. He ruined basketball for 2 years. Thunder going to win the title now, Kevin Durant. And this tells me that Kevin Durant had the ability to have free will in his decision. NBA didn't tell this guy to go to the Thunder. NBA gave him the free will to decide if I'm going to stay at OKC or if I'm going to join the Thunder. Kevin Durant is a joke. Kevin Durant ruined basketball for 2 years. Not Boat in the ball, not Stephen Curry. Well, Stephen Curry deserves the blame because he's the reason why Kevin Durant joined the Warriors. Him and Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala. It's all the Warriors' fault. Stephen Curry's a joke. If this were Kobe Bryant after they lost in 2016, Kobe be like, I want to beat you. I don't want that fucking chicken. He's a fucking snake. He's a chicken. He never, ever want Kevin Durant to join his team, Kobe Bryant. West Virginia? There ain't nobody's in football. I don't care if they had Geno Smith. I don't care if West Virginia had Pat Smith and they were good with Rich Rodriguez. Oh my God, this goes back 20 years ago. But ain't enough no more. Enough with that. West Virginia ain't nothing in today's climate. You are quickly. Now Texas Rangers, they may very well make it to the title game next year. They're going to be good. Quinn Evers, is he coming back or is it going to be the Manning guy? Peyton Manning won a title at Tennessee, did he? So who's to say that the Texas Longhorns are not going to win? I mean, this team made it to the Final Four. They made it to the Final Four the year before against Washington, and then last year they lost in the quarterfinal. I guess the narrative is that he can't win. He can't win. Well, you make it to the quarterfinal. You make it to the last four the year before. That seems very consistent for Texas. They should be in the running. Arch Manning played well last year. Some guys who were in the last four 2 years ago and beat ASU, and they're in the Texas lost against the champ, and it was a close game last year. So some of these guys that are juniors and seniors, they're going to have plenty of experiences to fall back on, to take advantage of. Basically, the loss against Washington and the loss against Ohio State. So I don't know what is the complexion of freshmen and sophomores compared to juniors and seniors of Texas, but it is something worth investigating before the season. And when you have Arch Manning, and you have Peyton Manning, you have Eli Manning, you have your uncle, you have your your family members. That is an advantage that he has over the competition. But I like the great wisdom from the Manning family that this guy should live a real college life. That he shouldn't embrace the traditional aspects of college. Partying, studying, being a rock star, enjoying a few years of college. I feel it's going to go a long way for this kid. He ain't some robot who's going to go into the NFL draft the very next year. That he's a human being that needs some learned experiences. And I think it's a very good outlook of life from whoever it is. His dad or Arch Manning, the arch dad of the family of the Mammons. I believe it's going to work a long way for him. My dream would be to see Arch Manning on the Cardinals, to see Kyler Murray's career end, but I don't want to wish injury on a player. But I believe Cardinals will benefit from Arch Manning on the team. Because I don't think Kyler Murray is a Super Bowl quarterback. If the Cardinals make the playoffs and they finish top half in the division, then it's paper over cracks. Because I believe no matter how good the defense is, no matter how good of a running back James Conner is, no matter how good Marvin Harrison is, I don't think Kyler Murray is a Super Bowl quarterback. I think we need a Manning as quarterback. I think it'd be paper over cracks. I think we'd be stuck in quarterback purgatory if we're stuck with Kyler Murray for a few more seasons, because I think we should try to get Arch Manning. But if we give the illusion of taking, then we don't sign Buda Baker, one of the best safeties in football, and James Conner, one of the best running backs in football, to another contract. But the Cardinals don't have a real championship quarterback. Kyler Murray is 4-4 against the 49ers, but yeah, he's got some limitations to his game. His stature, his ability to throw deep. I mean, I think Kyler's a regular season quarterback like Lamar Jackson, like Lamar the Poop Jackson. That's right, your little piece of dog shit, Lamar Jackson, who shits his pants in the postseason. Kyler Murray's the same way. I'm not going to sit here and jack off to my quarterback because he's playing on my team. I'm going to be real. I want a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I want a Kurt Warner on my team. I don't have a Kurt Warner on my team. I don't have a Super Bowl winning quarterback like Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes on my team, do I? Or Jalen Hurts. I don't have any of these guys. Or even Jared Goff, who made it to a Super Bowl in his career. I don't have any of these guys, do I? Dude, you're in all the wrong places. Cooper Flagg said dominate the NBA and Lamar Jackson's going to make it to the Super Bowl. My God, you need help. Wait, you need help. Lamar Jackson is very lucky that he has a stable franchise like the Ravens, but he continues to shit the bed in the playoffs. Give Joe Burrow the Ravens, they win the Super Bowl already. They have a great defense. They have a great defensive lines. They're very great in the trenches. The Bengals are not too great in the trenches. They have a bad offensive line. All they have is Trey Hendrickson. They don't have situational pass rushers, run stoppers. They are not of the same championship caliber as far as roster construction is like the Baltimore Ravens. These guys like Hamilton in the safety, these guys like Zaire Alexander from the Green Bay Packers. The Bengals don't have these kind of guys on their defense. And that says everything about Lamar Jackson when he has among the most talented defenses and offensive and defensive lines, and he can't even make it to the Super Bowl. Bisciotti, whatever his name is, the Italian owner of the Ravens, he's a great owner. Paul Brown, not so much. Not so much. The Bengals have a terrible owner. Lamar Jackson has a very good owner. Joe Burrow doesn't have a very good owner, does he? He does not have the Hunts as owners of his team, does he? You are the product of your environment. Patrick Mahomes would not be as successful if he didn't have Andy Reid, a perennial Hall of Fame coach, as a luxury to his arsenal. Give Andy Reid Joe Burrow, imagine what he'd do. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't have the resources that the Ravens and the Chiefs have. Because this isn't a quarterback-dominated game. This is still very much a team game. You have Chris Jones. You have top pass rushers on the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, yeah, how does that make Joe Burrow look bad? He's playing on poverty. He's carrying a poverty franchise. He beat the Bengals. He beat the Chiefs with a poverty franchise. That is exactly the point. Lamar Jackson is on a team that won 2 Super Bowls, and he can't do jack shit. That had Ray Lewis, that had Ed Reed, that had Joe Flacco, that had a bunch of perennial ballers, that had Ozzie Newsome. Lamar Jackson is privileged to not have Paul Brown as his owner. All these black fans riding the dick of Lamar Jackson, they don't get it. Lamar Jackson hasn't shown me that he's better than Joe Burrow in the playoffs. It's all about how you do in January, mate. Jalen Hurts has done the job, but Jalen Hurts was on a great team. Jalen Hurts didn't choke on a great team. Lamar did choke. Jalen Hurts played intelligently. He didn't give away the football like Lamar Jackson has. Jalen Hurts didn't fumble the ball. He didn't intercept the football. Jalen Hurts played intelligently, but he played on a super stacked team compared to the Bengals. Great wide receivers don't win you Super Bowls. Terrell Owens didn't win the Super Bowl on the Eagles. The Patriots had no-name wide receivers. The Colts had Marvin Harrison. The Patriots had Alan Branch or Deion Branch, whoever was the Patriots wide receiver. I'm telling you, elite wide receivers don't win Super Bowls. Anquan Bolden and Larry Fitzgerald on my Cardinals team back in the day. Elite wide receivers alone don't win Super Bowls. I think it was 2011. I said Larry Fitzgerald was overpaid. And my uncle was like, no. This guy's the franchise of the Cardinals. He's not overpaid. He means a lot to the team. From a logistics standpoint, the most valuable positions are D-line and offensive line in football. You need quarterback to win, no doubt about it. But without a great offensive line, without a great defensive line, without a great front seven, you can't win the championship. If the Chiefs had a weak front seven, they don't win the Super Bowls with Patrick Mahomes. What Joe Burrow did in the year of Super Bowl 56 is legendary. These black fans riding the dick of Lamar Jackson, they don't want to look at the facts, do they? Lamar, all he beat was a rookie quarterback on the Texans and Ryan Tannehill. It's not hating. Speaking facts. Joe Burrow beat Josh Allen in the divisional round. He beat Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. Joe Burrow, the real deal. He's a clutch performer in January. That's why the Bengals are a value bet. It's because they're 5-2 in the postseason with Joe Burrow. How many yards did he throw last year? 4,800, 4,900, 43 touchdown passes. You have Jamar Chase. He doesn't give a damn about how the defense does. That is a championship contender. Argentina are winning it. At the least, the guaranteed bet of the World Cup is CONMEBOL to win the World Cup. CONMEBOL to win the World Cup if you're a pragmatist. If you're a pragmatist, then South America to win the World Cup after the death of Pele, whether it be his team Brazil or whether it be the greatest player ever, Lionel Messi. That is a high percentage bet. CONMEBOL win the World Cup. Hedge your bet on Argentina and Brazil is my advice to bet on the World Cup in 2026. And, Portugal to advance the round of 16, the round of 8, blah, 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 blah. High percentage bets are there. We'll see how the FIFA draw is if the United States going to play on the 4th of July. They did play on the 4th of July against Brazil in 1994, but Brazil won in the 4th of July in 1994. And so I think America's going to play on the 4th of July again. I think we should win with Captain America, Christian Pulisic. We better win. Forza Juventus, Forza McKennie, Forza Festor McKennie. We're going to win, okay? Mostly it's about rooting for Team USA, but Weston McKennie played for Juventus. But again, Juventus, Milan, rivalry aside, Team USA, Pulisic, Timothy Weah, Juventus, McKennie, Juventus, Pulisic, Juventus, Forza Serie A, Forza Calcio. We're going to win on the 4th of July. Another terrible take. Diego Maradona passed away because Argentina went in the back-to-back. This doesn't just end in 2022. This doesn't just end after December 18 of 2022 because Argentina won the World Cup after Maradona's death. But after Maradona's death, Argentina win the back-to-back. Why else is Diego Maradona Camacho 62? Why else is North America Camacho 62? Because I believe Argentina are going to surpass the 2008 to 2012 Spain golden generation because they always talk shit about Carnival. They talk shit about Colombia. They talk shit about Venezuela. They talk shit about Chile. But Chile made it to back-to-back Copa America final. So Chile were pretty good back during that time. Brazil semifinal 2014. Brazil is Brazil. They lost to a France team in Sudan. They lost to a very good Belgium team in 2018. They lost to a good Croatia team that made it to the World Cup final. That lost in the semifinal to Argentina. So Brazil deserved their props in that they've lost to very good sides, and Brazil haven't been upset by a team that doesn't belong in the top stages of the competition. Trezeguet and Zidane, that is a top side. 2010, who did Brazil lose to in 2010? Oh man, who did they lose to in 2010? Germany was the world champ, right? In 2018, it was Belgium and a very hard 1-0 against France, right? And Croatia, runner-up in the final, semifinal against Argentina. Croatia deserved their props. It was not an upset. It appeared like it was an upset, but it was not an upset. Modric, Mario Mandzukic was not part of that team. I love Mandzukic. He played with Juventus, but Perisic, you see, Croatia have got some very, very good players. Brozovic, too. A couple Inter players I hate, but, Croatia really, really good. What did Brazil lose in 2010? It wasn't against Germany. No, they lost against the Netherlands. The Netherlands are good. They made it to the quarterfinal against Argentina. They made it to the semifinal against Argentina. They had a down period in 2018, but Netherlands are a good team. Yeah. I think Hendrick is a top prospect. What's Rapinoe's age? Oh, my guy is 28. He's not going to make it to 2034, is he? Never say never. Messi can play the World Cup at 37. My point is never say never. If Ronaldo can play at 41 years of age, never say never. The sports science is very advanced. Nowadays you can never say never. You can never say he's done at 30, 34 years of age. The sports science has made very, very big advancements. What do you mean we're not going to have a World Cup? What do you mean we're not going to have a World Cup? We're still going to be here 50 years from now. We still will. And, I think Trump his name is going to live in infamy as the worst president ever. The script is going to end with the third time's charm, the third impeachment. The GOP, the people are suffering economically. They no longer care about deporting brown people. They just want better economic conditions. This Donald Trump guy is a disaster. I will never forget Brazil 2014. They were paying for stadiums and their people were suffering economically. I mean, I think it could be like Brazil in 2014. I think Americans are going to be mad that Donald Trump cares about the World Cup. And, the main thing from Brazil is that they were building new stadiums, but we're not building new stadiums for this World Cup. But um, he gives so much attention to this World Cup, and he's completely forgetting about the people. Why did people vote? They thought they were getting better economic conditions, but this guy didn't give a damn about the economy. So I think it could be something similar like 2014, because just because you're from America doesn't mean you're rich. I mean, lots of Americans are living in poverty. I mean, they're brainwashed by Hollywood and the movies. They have a false, illusionary vision of what America is like, because America doesn't have lots of guaranteed vacation time and medical benefits like the advanced world of Europe. The Europeans are not moving to America because they have better standard of living in Europe than in America. That's why America hasn't stayed white, because they have better living conditions in Europe under their socialized health care than they do under America. Now, you see, if they moved to America, if they went to the hospital, they would suffer medical bankruptcy. And that virtually doesn't exist in the civilized world in Europe. You see, yeah, America thinks they're so exceptional. They're far better because the government tells us we're free. The right wing tells us we're free. You want to listen to a bunch of government people who want to. They basically look at themselves as kings. That we are the government. We are giving you freedom. And the Europeans are simply not moving to America from the Netherlands and Italia and Germany. And I know my dad tells me all these people in Italia, they want to move to America, but he doesn't say that mostly it's because of what they see in Hollywood, that they give the illusion that America is a place of paradise. You see, the sports cars, the muscle cars, in the Hollywood movies, you see, it's fantasy, it's Hollywood, it's not real life. You may vacation well in Rome or in a very nice place in Venice or Fiorentina in Florence or in Naples, but the fact is Italians work long, long hours for very, very low wages. They can work 10, 11-hour days. Italy may be a good place to vacation, but uh, the wages and opportunities are not very good over there. So that's something that's not seen, from the appearance of having a great vacation. And I don't think they realize that the appearance of a great middle class life has really, it has been worse ever since the 1980s and Ronald Reagan. But there was no real recovery after Barack Obama because, I mean, low wages means low economic growth. If you have more disposable income, the more the economy can grow. And when they're shipping jobs overseas, then you're inherently going to have low GDP growth under Obama. But Donald Trump didn't bring the jobs back, did he? He didn't. At least Joe Biden made an effort to bring back infrastructure jobs to the Midwest, to the South, and to some parts of Arizona and the Southwest. I mean, Joe Biden was a guy who really made the first real effort to bring back manufacturing jobs. Well, you see, all of that ended with Donald Trump. There is no coherent effort to bring back manufacturing jobs under this current administration. But these people vote GOP like Trump was doing more for them than Joe Biden. But ironically, Biden did more for them than Donald Trump. Biden placed a cap on prescription drug prices. Donald Trump got rid of that, but then he reinstituted prescription drug caps. But it was Biden's policy in the first place because he gutted the Biden policy. For the first time in American history, the military was used against American citizens under Donald Trump. This wasn't about targeting people, throwing rocks at police cars, or any of that. This was about people protesting the assault on the Fourth Amendment against unlawful searches of people without a warrant from a judge. The January Sixers who were pardoned by Donald Trump, it was done on purpose because Donald Trump needs as many henchmen as he can to carry out his mass deportation agenda. And quite simply, these J6ers who committed treason against America, because anyone who's not gullible knew Donald Trump tried to have Mike Pence and Nancy Pelosi killed so there would be no real succession to the presidency, which would inherently create a constitutional crisis. They make no mistake about it. These people who attacked the Capitol, they were looking to kill Mike Pence and Nancy Pelosi. So there was no clear succession to the White House, and there would be a constitutional crisis, and it would make Donald Trump king of America. That was what was behind January the 6th. That is why would Mike Pence endorse Donald Trump if they tried to kill him? Donald Trump didn't usher in the National Guard to dispel and quash the rebellion against the Capitol, did he? No. Donald Trump is a criminal. He wanted to halt the ability to prosecute a now citizen former president. And I think what's making the airwaves, without the media mentioning anything, is the fact that former President Obama says we're closer to an authoritarian regime. I think Obama knows that Donald Trump, he can't run against Obama. Obama would crush Donald Trump in a general election if Obama and Trump were allowed to run against each other in a general election. But you see, Donald Trump has shown authoritarian tendencies like Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin. Donald Trump's endgame is to remain in power so he can't be prosecuted as a private citizen. That is his endgame right now. He holds no allegiance to any precious document, like the most famous of all famous documents. Some say it's the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta, we don't have a U.S. Constitution without the Magna Carta, but in the modern era, the very living document for natural law and the rule of law in the world is the U.S. Constitution. All people and all persons are guaranteed due process by the U.S. Constitution, regardless if they're a citizen or not. That is the premise of natural law by the people like John Locke and many of these Enlightenment philosophers. All people are guaranteed due process under the law, regardless if they're a citizen or not. That is the premise of natural law. The U.S. Constitution guarantees due process to all people, regardless if they're a citizen or not. That is the premise of natural law. Everybody is guaranteed due process, regardless of citizen status under the U.S. Constitution. You need a warrant before ICE can take you away. Everything under ICE can be done under the rule of the law. But ICE does not have a right to not have any identification and to take anybody away. And who knows what happens after that? Sex trafficking, kidnapping. These are criminals we're dealing with, these people. And by the way, a pardon, it is an admission of guilt. So those people who took the pardons from Donald Trump, a pardon is an admission of guilt. So they have admitted guilt to their crimes. When you accept a pardon, you accept guilt under the law. A pardon by law is an admission of guilt. And not many people know this, but that's what a pardon is an admission of guilt. You are acquitted, but you're still guilty under the eyes of the law. So these very people that are trafficking people, that are raping Latino women, that are taking them away, that are raping them, that are kidnapping them, that are holding them as hostages. And by the way, we left-wingers told you this. We told you this was not about deporting the gangbangers. This was not about deporting the gangbangers. This was solely about deporting people because they would change the complexion of the concentration of brown people in America. But e pluribus unum, out of many people, one people under the United States of America. But Spanish rule in Arizona and in California has lasted longer than they were as U.S. territories. So this is inherent that we would have many Spanish speakers here in Arizona, California. If California, Arizona, under the rule of Mexico, lasted longer than they were as U.S. territories. If you have a problem with it, move back to the Midwest, move back to the East Coast, move back to eastern part of the United States if you have a problem with Mexicans and a high percentage of Spanish-speaking people. You don't have to live in an area where everyone's speaking Spanish. You can always move back to the East Coast. You can always move back to the Southeast. You can move back to the Midwest. You can move to Idaho and Iowa, whatever. You don't have to spew your prejudice and your bigotry over there. All them people spreading the racism, they like their Mexican food, don't they? They like their Mexican food. You know me, I'm Italian, so I like Mexican food. I like my chicken as soft, hard shell tacos. You see, but my first preference is to go out to an Italian place, you see, and to wrap it all off with a hard shell cannoli. I ain't using no spoon or no knife or no fork. I'm gonna grab it by my bare hands and just stuff that cannoli in my mouth right here. These people work very hard. Ordinary Americans are not taking these janitor jobs, these field jobs, picking crops. Are these maggot, Trumpists, or occultists gonna fulfill their hardcore American duty when they ship these people back to, in their words, whatever they came from? Are they, the Trumpist MAGA cultists, gonna step into the fields and pick our crops and serve the country? I don't think so. To work a job that nobody would do under this climate deserves some respect. But you see, MAGA will not be the first to work these jobs. So these jobs exist because Americans don't fill these jobs. So the liberals were right. The liberals understand economics. They understand that there's certain jobs that Americans are not willing to work for. So the liberals told you guys, these right-wingers, these right-wing boomers in retirement, looking to move into a new home, under construction, reliant on illegal migrant workers. Now let's take a house under construction in Florida. These people are afraid of going to work because they're going to get swooped up by ice. Let's say a hurricane comes or a tornado comes and it wrecks the house. Then this boomer family, all the years they worked very hard to retire and settle down into a life that they dreamed of for the richest part of their existence. And this house that they dreamed of gets destroyed because of a tornado, because construction has not been made progress, because ICE is afraid of being deported. So these people deserve respect. Some people are very obsessed about the complexion of the change of the demographic of America. I mean, I don't see what the problem is, because you guys think Spanish people are less white than English and German and Swedish people. I mean, you see some Latino people. I mean, they look as white as I do. They look as dark as I do because they are white, but they are Spanish and they are Portuguese. But they may claim to be Latino. I don't claim their racial identification, but some of them may claim Latino, but they look white, and I think they look white, but they claim Latino, but whatever they claim is their racial makeup, it's up to them. But whether it be the Cuban or the Portuguese or the Spanish, the Southern European blood's going to look alike. So, and this explains why the Cubans are MAGA because they think they're white, blah, 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 blah. But they got brown eyes. They ain't got no hazel or blue eyes, and they're less white than you are. So but I don't know. I think if you look Spanish, if you look Portuguese, you look white in my eyes. I don't know. Okay, the U.S. Census is going to expand its definition of whiteness 100%. Some very dark looking Sicilian Italians may look Mexican, you know, I was mistaken for a couple of people. They thought I was Mexican, but I was not Mexican. And for the record, on my mom's, Irish side, like my Aunt Mo was married to a Mexican guy, Hank, he doesn't look Latino or whatever, but obviously looks like he could be Spanish, whatever, or and basically, the byproduct, my cousin Ryan, white Mexican. Half Irish, half Mexican, whatever, but clearly resemblance of Spaniard blood, you know. So this is a very complex racial definition, but people are defined by what they classify as the racial makeup. And let's say if I put myself out on the sun and I had a suntan, I could be mistaken as Mexican too. If I have dark skin, if I stay out in the sun for 5 hours in the summer, I could easily be mistaken for being Mexican or whatever. I need to show my papers. I don't know. I'm just saying, some Italians in the New Jersey, in the New York, they can get pretty dark out there in the summer. So the summertime is an interesting time to hear about these ice stories, and people are profiling people because of their summer tan. Like this one's gonna happen. You see, these right wing Republicans are not about deporting gangbangers because 70% of the people that were sent to El Salvador had no criminal record. The immigration policy of Barack Obama was that we deport the people committing violent crimes in America. Barack Obama wasn't looking to swoop up any brown Latino person on the street. Barack Obama was first and foremost looking to deport people committing violent crimes in this country. Why do the white wingers call Barack Obama the mass deporter in chief? Because Barack Obama took violent crime seriously. And these people, disguising as ICE agents, but are really January 6ers, and Donald Trump has to obviously build up the recruitment force of the henchmen that are supposed to carry out the massive deportation agenda. I mean, that's why he pardoned the January 6ers, because he needed people who would immediately fill in into these ICE jobs. But these Donald Trump insurrectionists are racist, so they don't care about the due process of the law. But anybody who violates the due process of the law, they will 100% be prosecuted under the DOJ of the new Democratic administration. Donald Trump is not going to stay in office behind 2028. I guarantee you, whether it be by natural death, whether it be by the military abiding by the Constitution and not by Donald Trump, he is going to be disposed. The military is supposed to abide by the Constitution and not abide to an authoritarian strawman. The military marched very sloppily during that joke of a 250th celebration of the U.S. Army. The military marched very incoherently, not in a single file. Vlad and Xi Jinping and the Hungarian wannabe dictator president were laughing at Donald Trump's failed attempt to have a military parade on his birthday. That's right. It was failed attempt. Thank goodness their plan's gonna fail. I just think about it. Go Kinaban's gonna win the title in the midterms. It could be a disaster for the Republican Party. Now, let's hold our breath for a second. They rigged the voting machines in 2024. This could be a cat and mouse pony game where Elon says, I'm going to ditch you, whatever. And Donald Trump says, oh, nice knowing you too. But is that really going to happen? I mean, the Democrats have made it known that Elon Musk, get the fuck, you're not going to join our fucking movement. And I think that's fucking great that the Democrats are going to stand up for freedom and your right to privacy when they say no to Elon Musk. But you have to say no to all of these big tech donors that have the ability to donate to any Democratic politician. So you have to say no to all of them, not just Elon Musk. You have to say no to anybody that works for big tech. The Republican Party has made it known that they are ready to sell their souls to big tech. The Republicans are worried about big tech snooping in on their rights. Well, the Republicans have said, we don't give a damn. We let Elon in, we let Peter Thiel in. They don't give a damn about these people swooping in under your browsing history and what have you. The Republicans are the threat to privacy. Anytime you allow big tech to get involved, there's no way that big tech is not having more access to your data, to your information, if you allow Elon Musk to rig the election for the GOP. So the GOP are infringing on personal liberty. If you want to protect freedom and personal liberty, it is first and foremost our objective to kick Elon Musk to the curb. He must not be involved in the Democratic midterm election cycle. So any corporate Democrat show who is thinking about involving big tech money, we have to expose them. We have to silence them. We have to ostracize them. We're not the Republican Party allowing these people to snoop in on your private data. That's what the big tech libertarian billionaires want is more access to your private data. They want to be in control. We must say no to anybody affiliated with Elon Musk and the big tech Orwellian let's take control of your privacy agenda. This is a winning cause. This should be highlighted in the midterms. We value your right to privacy. We don't want to snoop in on your browsing data or your private browsing history. This is a winning cause. You can tell Elon Musk to fuck off, and we'll say that we don't want to snoop in on our citizens' privacy data. But any of these people, Chuck Schumer's still alive, Feinstein died, Nancy's still there. I think, you know, Nancy, the polar bear, I think she's controls AOC in the squad. So I think, you know, we're not in complete control until Nancy goes away. Hakeem Jeffries is a joke. He hasn't done anything to curtail Donald Trump. He's a joke. I mean, most Americans want Bernie Sanders as our president, and that's how undemocratic our government is. Now, Bernie told Joe Biden that your presidency is key for Americans to believe in governments in the future. And Biden bought back the infrastructure job. So, unfortunately, people are fucking ignorant. Joe Biden did a good job of listening to Bernie Sanders. But people are ignorant of what Joe Biden has done. And so people think Joe Biden did nothing, but he brought back infrastructure jobs to the frickin' uh, Midwest and the frickin' southeastern coast of the United States of America. But mainstream media has done a shitty ass job of bringing that awareness to the rest of the country. The mainstream media wants you to be angry at the Democratic Party. The mainstream media wants you to side with the GOP. The mainstream media has done a terrible job of highlighting the good stuff that Joe Biden has done. And this is where we're at today. Donald Trump is close to having World War III with Iran. How? Donald Trump, it was Barack Obama, excuse me, that agreed to the Iran nuclear deal, which would halt Iran's nuclear program. Now, Donald Trump halted Obama's Iran nuclear deal. So what happened? Iran was developing nuclear weapons again. Of course, Israel had to defend itself. So under the pretext of Iran is developing nuclear weapons because Donald Trump gone away from Obama's Iran nuclear deal, Israel is now closer to World War III by bombing Iran's nuclear sites. Obama is very well deserving of that Nobel Peace Prize because Obama halted the nuclear program of Iran. Obama wanted to prevent World War III. You see, Donald Trump is a racist and he hates black people. He discriminated against offering housing to black people and to Korean people and to other people. It doesn't matter if what Obama did was good for America. Donald Trump has a very sick, unhealthy obsession with hating on Obama, no matter what cost. We are suffering the consequences of having a deranged orange lunatic dismantle a very good agreement between Iran and the US because it was done under Obama. Isn't it a good thing to halt the nuclear program of Iran? But because Trump gutted it, Iran was developing nuclear weapons. Israel felt no choice. They didn't know when Iran was going to launch a nuclear strike on them. They had to bomb the facilities. Donald Trump is the prime reason for this. I don't like everything Obama has done either, but this was a very good thing. Libertarians loved the Iran nuclear deal. I was a libertarian uh, during the 2010s, during the Obama presidency. I was not a Republican. I knew they were warmonger establishments. I was libertarian, but I saw that the libertarians were a, a front for billionaires. And so that's when I became, hardcore liberal progressive against all money groups, period. So Rand Paul and Ron Paul liked the Iran nuclear deal because it would prevent war. If you're an anti-war Republican, you listen to these people like uh, Rand Paul and Ron Paul. I don't like Rand Paul. He sold out to Donald Trump. Ron Paul is more of an honorable man than Rand Paul will ever be. So Rand Paul is a joke, but Ron Paul at least is a man of principle that you can somewhat respect. Uh, that he's not going to cater to an authoritarian strongman. So that's the difference between his son and the Godfather, Ron Paul. In the high school, I had the Ron Paul Revolution posters, the Ron Paul Revolution bumper stickers on my binders and all that, So, you know, this anti-war agenda, it's very popular on the left, but the economics of the libertarians caters to billionaires. So that's where it all ends with the libertarians is anti-war, pro marijuana is good for the people, but let's cut all taxes for billionaires. Let's get rid of the social services. Sorry, this helps the billionaires. It's not good for the people. The libertarians have always been a shill group of the billionaires. The Libertarian Party is not your friend. The Libertarian Party will gladly support the Republican Party. The Libertarian, it's by design. The third party in America is a shill group for corporations because America is ruled by corporations. They don't want a hardcore progressive anti-establishment third party. They want a third party that's going to allow everything good for billionaires. That's basically what the Libertarian Party is. So that's why the Libertarian Party has gained mainstream access, including CNN access to libertarian debates in 2016. And I don't think they had them in 2020, but they certainly had libertarian debates in 2016. But, being smart enough, I knew that the libertarian is controlled opposition, and under a libertarian governance, nothing changes because billionaires enjoy their lack of regulatory oversight under a libertarian administration. So, I we've had more white nationalism during these last 10 years. It's kind of gone away from the libertarianism, from 2010, 2011 under the Tea Party to uh, let's hate all brown people, racist, white supremacist ideology of Donald Trump. I mean, and for the record, not all Republicans are bad. I mean, Mitt Romney, we would stay under the NATO agreement, we would be a hardcore stance against Russia, which would appease all Democrats. So Donald Trump is an extremist. Mitt Romney or another Republican is not an extremist. Mitt Romney or another Republican would defend all of our Democratic allies from being overtaken by authoritarian strawmanism. You see, it's like Israel and Iran. For me, it's like don't get involved with that. It's the Middle East. You're not attacking our allies. It's just let Iran and Israel burn themselves to the ground. Is how I look at it. But Vladimir Putin is a direct threat to American allies in Canada and the Western world. So if Putin overtakes our allies of NATO, then that's going to threaten the rest of America. Now, if Iran and Israel are bombing themselves, then at least the allies that share the core values of America are not being overtaken. But our allies that share the common values as America are not being overtaken by Vladimir Putin and Russia in this Ukraine conflict. How I look at this is if we help England and Germany and our great allies of the European continent, they're going to help us if we get attacked by Mexico or Canada or North Korea. That's why we have to support Germany, Italy, France, England. If we have their back against Ukraine, they will have our back. America's defense is stronger under Article 5 of NATO if we ever get attacked by Mexico or Canada. That's why we should support them. The only country to invoke Article 5 of NATO is the United States of America. The only country to have unilateral help from the entirety of NATO after an attack is the United States of America after 9/11. So why would we leave NATO if we're the only country to invoke Article 5 of NATO? How would we handle Al Qaeda without the help of Great Britain and Italy and France and Germany and all these countries? We'd just be by all ourselves. The war in Afghanistan would be longer than 20 years. I mean, if we need NATO help, then our military must be weak. It must be weak if we're struggling to beat them. No. The conflict has been prolonged on purpose because the military industrial complex must sell some weapons. So it's no doubt the conflict has purposely been extended so the military industrial complex can enrich the shareholders when they sell more and more weapons on a year-to-year basis. So this very well is war racketeering. There are people who talked about war racketeering happening under the previous administration. So before you get to Donald Trump, let's not forget. Dwight Eisenhower warned America against the military-industrial complex. So this is something that goes far back to the 1950s and 1960s. So if we want to create a communist enemy in Vietnam, then we sell some weapons, we enrich some uh, weapon shareholders in 1960s, and this has been the formula of waging from Desert Storm and 1980s Afghanistan. So you see, Donald Trump is not where all of our problems started with. It really goes far back as the 1970s. So in the 1970s is when they made campaign money, they made it free speech instead of what it really is, which is influence. And this happened before 1980, before Ronald Reagan was sworn in as president. Now, there's a lot of corruption with Ronald Reagan because he purposely, uh, the hostages in Iran were purposely held there to make Jimmy Carter look bad. So, in a way, Ronald Reagan sacrificed American lives and he made it look like Jimmy Carter was holding them back. Well, Ronald Reagan didn't want these people to go back to America until after the election in 1980. You don't have to be born in 1995 or whatever to diagnose the history. We can learn the history at any time. But trickle down economics, uh, credit card interest, car payments, those used to be tax deductible until before Ronald Reagan. If you're wondering why America where it is today, it's not because of Gen Z is the worst generation ever, or whatever. It's because the concentration of the wealth from the very wealthy to the we have enough to the have nots has been worse since 1980. You know, you live in an oligarchical government where Bernie Sanders is not allowed to win an election. I don't know in 2016 how old some of you guys were, but the election was rigged against Bernie Sanders. Mainstream media rigged the election. They gave Hillary the questions in advance. So, yeah, in a way, we became anti-democratic because um, Hillary and what was her name? Donna Brazil sent her the questions in advance. I mean, if these people are the reason why Donald Trump is in power, I guarantee you the Democrats would rather have Donald Trump burn America to the ground so they could be in power for 8 years. And now Joe Biden was pissed. Joe Biden was pissed that he wasn't allowed to run again. Joe Biden told Kamala to stand down when she wanted a recount. Joe Biden was angry that he didn't get to run for re-election. Joe Biden was practically wearing a MAGA hat during one of these rallies. Joe Biden did not want to see Kamala win. He was angry. Nancy told him to take a back seat. I guarantee you guys, Joe Biden was happy that Donald Trump won the election because Joe Biden wanted to run in a re-election. I look at these pictures from the White House visit from Biden and Trump. Biden was happy Kamala lost. Why the hell would Kamala listen to Biden if Biden wanted her to lose? Biden was happy she lost. Biden was mad he wasn't able to run for re-election. Dementia is real. Trump cannot have a real conversation. He was talking about, oh, why did trans women play on Juventus? And now this guy was an embarrassment to my organization. This guy was an embarrassment to my organization. This guy embarrassed Juventus Football Club. He should have talked about football with Juventus. This guy embarrassed Juventus Football Club. He embarrassed the organization of Juventus. It was Gianni Infantino's idea. Juventus were going to go along with it, but Donald Trump embarrassed Juventus Football Club. We weren't going to take political sides at all. Juventus, they didn't stand with Donald Trump. Juventus were just simply honored for being invited by the President of the United States. I understood why Juventus wanted to visit the President. Now, Juventus didn't make it known on their Twitter accounts that they were visiting the President. The pictures were leaked somewhere that Juventus were visiting the President. But what I loved as an anti-Trumper was that it wasn't the black players that were disgusted with Donald Trump. It wasn't Timothy Weah and Weston McKinney. Dusan Vlahovic was disillusioned. Federico Gatti, Italian football, disillusioned. The pictures don't lie. Both the white and the black players were disgusted and embarrassed with Donald Trump's trying to bring politics into the equation. Donald Trump should have asked us questions about our footballing journey, about our adventures in the Coppa Italia and the Scudetto. Can a woman play on your team? It's like, we're not here to bring politics. We're here to talk about our football. We're Juventus Football Club. We're not here to alienate our supporters, whether it be trans or non-trans. You know, sheepishly, no Juventus player agreed with Donald Trump. It took one of our executives who said that we have a fine women team. Juventus were embarrassed by Donald Trump. This was not the time to bring up bombing Iran or can a trans player play for Juventus during a White House visit. Donald Trump is functionally retarded. He is not able to carry himself in an intelligent conversation. He is socially awkward and retarded. Somebody had to bring it up. He is socially and functionally retarded. If you had to bring up bombing Iran during a visit with Juventus, he's an embarrassment. He's a joke. Imagine Barack Obama or Joe Biden in the White House. They would research Juventus. They would research our battles with Inter or Milan or the Scudetto, the Coppa Italia. You see, that was an embarrassment. Donald Trump is an embarrassment, but it's an embarrassment. I have the picture on my Facebook. I had the picture on my YouTube channel. The Juventus players were not happy with Donald Trump. This is what makes me even more of a proud Juventino. They don't stand for hatred or bigotry. In today's world, Juventus Football Club has to be an inclusive organization in order to survive. Now, being an inclusive organization doesn't mean that you don't recruit Italian players. Trezeguet, Thuram, for example, great players. Igor Tudor, Croatia. Juventus have already have had lots of great foreign players throughout the years. But it should be the strength of the team that you have the best players in Italia in the national team playing for Juventus. So that I think should never go away whatsoever. Is having the best Italian players on Juventus, and this is something that I think the organization, the company has fallen short on, is having the best players play for Juventus. Both Juventus and Milan have zero Italian players. Inter had Barla and Bastoni and Di Marco. So uh, that's what makes it very embarrassing. And we had Chiesa, and they got rid of Chiesa, you know. Um, but Locatelli's a strong captain. I appreciate him. Tambiaso, don't send him to Milan. Don't send him to Allegri. Um, Rataki, can it be a good striker? I doubt Osimhen can join Juventus. Big U.S. presence, Juventus. Weah, McKennie, but must have a strong presence of the best Italian players in the country. This is where Juventus have fallen short on. Federico Gatti, I like. He must get better. He must get better. I think they've disappointed me as far as Italian prospects. They've disappointed. No, I mean, we are Juventus Football Club, right? We should demand war. Chico Conceição, thank God he stayed on Juventus next year. It may be hard to compete with Napoli next year. Kevin De Bruyne, it's like, why wasn't Juventus all over Kevin De Bruyne? You know, so midfield weak, front three. I think it's gotten better when Conceição um, develops himself another year. Ronaldo, that Portuguese element, and Conceição, that Portuguese element. He scored against Spain. He scored in the first game of the FIFA Club World Cup. And Tudor is a fucking moron if he thinks that Conceição should leave. So I think Conceição's got to open. I think Tudor's got an open mind, and he's going to keep Conceição. So um, we are far away from the Scudetto if we don't keep Conceição. So Juventus is going to pay the 30 million to Porto. So Conceição, Igor Tudor, Conceição is not his first option, but he's making a wise decision. Somebody who's willing to sacrifice his tactical philosophies for the better of the team. And Conceição is the most one of the most creative players for Juventus. He scored against Inter. He was injured in the Supercopa, but he scored against Inter. Conceição is a real deal for Juventus. I'm glad Tudor is staying true to him, so I'm very glad. But how Manchester City, Juventus fare out? Each team gets $1 million. If it ends in a draw, nobody gets injured. So we'll see if this is a situation where both teams uh, want to go uninjured entering the knockout round. But Juventus have won every UEFA competition, not including UEFA Conference League. Um, Goal differential helps Juventus now. So we'll be playing for the draw against Manchester City. We won by 5 against Al Ali and against the Wiyad Casablanca. Man City have won 2-0. So Juventus have the goal differential, and we should be playing for the draw against Man City. And this will mean that Juventus will finish on top of the group. But we've had some really good results in the FIFA Club World Cup so far. Fluminense in Dortmund, Flamengo in Chelsea, uh, LAFC against that team today. The Premier League, except for today, it's at least Juventus did embarrass itself against outside Confederation. I'm very happy it's not Juventus that's exposing UEFA. Yeah, it's Dortmund, it's Chelsea, PSG losing against Botafogo. Like wow, like this FIFA Club World Cup is here to stay because all the and I think South American fans have brought up a good point that they played 75 matches and you know we're complaining about 50 matches and you know there's some very good teams around the world. There's some very good teams that are not going to let their guard. They play with a lot of pride. Flamengo and Fluminense and Boca Juniors only lost by 1 goal against Bayern Munich. So I think Gianni Infantino is going to be ecstatic about the results so far in this FIFA Club World Cup. And Inter Miami defeated Porto. So I think from an outside perspective that the FIFA Club World Cup is it's taken very seriously by some of these confederations, and the the rest period can't be used as an excuse if some of these South American teams have played more matches throughout 365 days than European countries. So you know Europeans are looking to go on vacation, but I think Well, we must hold our judgment, I think, until the knockout rounds. We must hold our judgment until the knockout rounds. And and when the knockout rounds start, are we suddenly gonna start to is UEFA going to start to take it seriously in the knockout rounds? Now, that is the part of the experimentation of that we haven't seen yet. But fixture congestion, not a valid excuse for UEFA. The Club World Cup is here to stay, folks. Al Hilal drew 1-1 against Real Madrid. This Club World Cup is here to stay because this tournament, the only way it was going to survive was to have uncertainty of outcome. Now, we must reserve our judgment. We must wait until the semifinal. How many UEFA teams? How many in the uh, Asian Confederation? How many in the Brazilian Confederation? So this is not a finished product yet. We have to see how many teams in UEFA are in the semifinal. This is a glorified version of the Champions League. Once they take the knockout more seriously, that is the real debate. But if UEFA clubs are going to take bribes to lose against some of these teams, then in future Club World Cups, they're going to take it more seriously and they're going to batter those teams. So it is a matter of uncertainty, but I think Al Hilal in the semifinal actually could happen because they've got very good players from the European leagues. I think Al Hilal is going to be a, a sleeper contender, I think. It's something that should be seriously considered. And if the countries below are taking the FIFA Club World Cup seriously, then in the future it will just mean that UEFA's going to strike back and they're going to take this tournament seriously. But most of the time in the FIFA Club World Cup, UEFA usually wins anyways. So since some Mickey Mouse hocus pocus group stage, let's not take it seriously. Let's rest our players. Or when it comes down to the knockouts, it's the first time we take it seriously. That's the real debate. That is the real debate.